So that gives you a little bit of background of why, having been a truth seeker who's devoured books every day and have interviewed countless numbers of people and done all kinds of research, that gives you a little bit of background as why I'm up here telling you some of these things rather than somebody else. Mind control and disinformation. What do I mean by disinformation? Today, people don't understand what disinformation is. One needs to go and study, which I have done, how these intelligence agencies that disseminate disinformation, how they operate, and what kind of disinformation they put out. A very good example of this is MI5 and MI6, British intelligence. Maybe a lot of you are aware that British intelligence created American intelligence. And British intelligence is extremely powerful. Before World War II got started, the British had infiltrated the Nazi spy apparatus so that every German agent that was recruited into the Nazi apparatus that was spying on Britain had to become a double agent. 100% of the German agent spying on Great Britain was a double agent for the British. And anyone who joined those spy cells had to become a double agent, or they got dropped, so they kept the continuity. Through those double agents, they disseminated disinformation to the Germans. If you will study the type of disinformation that they fed through those German agents, you'll get a good idea of the type of disinformation that's being disseminated to you all through double agents. Some of them have been up here as speakers. You may think that disinformation is simply passing a lot of lies. No, disinformation has to look like the absolute truth, but you slip in a little poison with it. So some of these double agents that the Nazis had received very big decorations by Hitler. In fact, one of these British agents, double agents, received the highest award that Hitler could give him, while at the same time he received the highest award that the British could give him. Kind of interesting, huh? An example of how disinformation works. You give 99% true information, and it's that one little piece of disinformation that's the clincher. So through their spies, they fed the Germans the range of their naval radar, but they understated it. If we go back in history, you'll see that our governments are just carrying out methods of control that were written about long ago. Now, those of you who have been associated with the Army realize that they have a lot of pamphlets and books for their people. This was a handbook for chaplains, and inside this handbook for chaplains, they tell all of the religious groups that are recognized by the U.S. military, and one of those groups that's officially recognized is the Church of Satan, so that if you are a satanic priest in the Church of Satan, you are exempt from the draft because you're a clergyman. And Anton LaVey happens to be one of the mind control programmers that I have been exposing, and you'll see a picture of one of his slaves in here. In this book, in this handbook for chaplains, they will tell you that there are 3 degrees within witchcraft, and that is correct. Those first 3 degrees make up the anarchy level of the Illuminati, and then you have a hierarchy level within the Illuminati. This comes from a book, The Top 13 Illuminati Bloodlines. This pertains to the mind control because these bloodlines learned about these mind control techniques many centuries ago. These are the movers and shakers of the world. And for instance, the Rothschilds, their secret genealogy, traces back, and this is inside information. You're not going to learn this reading a book. This is inside information. Their genealogies go back to Nimrod. So these are some very powerful bloodlines, and they have learned a lot of techniques for controlling long ago. And when you learn who the bloodlines are, it totally changes your view of history. And then you have William Huntington Russell and Samuel Russell, which tie back into your slave trade. So see, these people have, these Illuminati families have been involved in slavery for a long time. And they've been involved with mind-controlled techniques for a long time. A lot of what they did with the black people was for purposes of, they were very skillfully using trauma and divide and conquer against the black people when they enslaved them. And I don't have time to go into all the ideas behind what they did to the black people, but just leave you with the idea that the reason that they brought over the black people like they did in the ships, with so many dying, and the way they separated them from their past and everything, it was all utilizing mind-controlled techniques. And this is some other Illuminati bloodlines here. The Lee family, Li Ka-shing, billionaire in Hong Kong. Some others. Hitler was of the Rothschild bloodline. I found out that Scotland was very important to all of this, and I just highlighted some of the Scottish clans that were involved in the Illuminati. And for some of you that need to see this, because you wonder if satanic ritual abuse does occur, I got this out of a museum, and it's written in it's an oath to Satan that's written in the blood of the person who made the oath. And this is very standard for people within the Illuminati. And this all relates to how the mind control is done, because a lot of you can't separate the satanic rituals from the mind control programming. They dovetail in. But they're also using alien themes in the mind control too. One of the major components to their plans is they want everything to happen as if it's unfolding naturally. So where the mind control slavery is so important is they have salted their people throughout all levels of society. There is no religious group, there is no philosophy, there is no political group that can't be infiltrated with their mind-controlled slaves. There is no political group that can't be infiltrated with their mind-controlled slaves. But there weren't enough naturally intelligent people for the New World Order types to take advantage of. If you understand what they need to run their computer systems and to do the type of research that they needed to have some trick to get enough geniuses to really move rapidly forward with what they wanted to accomplish. And they discovered that if they scarred the brainstem, they could create somebody with a photographic memory. And so a lot of your people out there that are geniuses working for the system are mind-controlled slaves that have their brainstem scarred as a child. They've been given a photographic memory, and they've got programming. Now, how do they control these people? Well, they are releasing technology at a rate that they have decided upon. And they release that. If you're a mind-controlled slave, a lot of the ideas that you will get will come as dreams. Okay? They're controlling the various Christian denominations, various Christian religions. They're controlling the New Age movement. Your New Age prophets that are seeing things. Where do you think this stuff is coming from? That's why I was so pleased to see Raylan Russbacher tell you her own personal story about how she discovered that the things that she had been channeling were actually being channeled through her via mind control from the intelligence agencies. What that would do is splinter your short-term memory. Once they get you programmed to where they want you, then they will delete your memory of having been used in these things. People that are on sensitive in government projects, if you are in charge of something that takes a classification, you're going to be under mind control. Don't you think that they're smart enough to want to control their secrets? And these men found out the same thing that I found out from various sources. James Collier and his brother, they spent 20 years tracking down how the voting is rigged. I'm telling you people, nothing is as it seems, and there are people that can come up here and stand up here and be a lot more humorous than I, and can tell you, you know, that you can vote these people out of office. There is no political system that is going to work anymore when they are making mind-controlled slaves.